All right, guys, welcome to the first of many Fourth Molar podcast videos. I'm Robert.
Neria Fazilov.
Mark Sadov.
And Ben Borokhov.
So on this podcast, it's going to be our platform to talk about how, like with many different things about dentistry, we're going to be inviting over many dentists, professors, hygienists, anything dental related, we're going to be talking about here.
Different students as well.
From
different schools.
Yeah, and we're gonna explore because dentistry is not just it's not one thing. There's multiple different specialties, different procedures we can do, and that's why we want to bring different dentists here so they can show everyone the full picture of what the different possibilities you can do.
Right.
So let's talk about our journeys here today. Like I remember last year, like a little bit over a year ago, I've been just studying for my DAT, sending out applications, getting into dental school. It's really a stressful time for everybody. And just let's talk about like the steps to get here.
Thank God it's behind us, Like I feel like that was the most stressful time. Studying for the DAT. That's where me and Rob met.
Dr. Romano's class.
Dr. Romano's class, Staten Island, twice a week. We would go over in the summer and study and spend time together. It was like very, very different compared to any other studying habit because every other platform that you'll use, bootcamp, booster, they're good. They're good platforms, but I would say that for me, what worked personally was the fact that I was able to sit in a classroom setting. I had a instructor that would explain everything that needed to be taught to me for the DAT. Taught me different tricks. He taught us, right?
Yeah, Dr. Romano was a G. Honestly,
he really helped us out, and thank God we're here today. So, how did you guys study for the DAT?
Yeah, so I did things differently. I didn't take Dr. Romano. I just relied heavily on DAT Bootcamp and DAT Booster. And I was studying. I was doing a lot of the questions, and I actually bought Dr. Romano's books to do some of the questions because they were a lot harder than whatever DAT Booster and DAT Bootcamp offered. So if you use his books, I feel like you'll cover everything and more, and it'll prepare you for the hardest questions that you'll see on the actual exam. And he has a lot of questions that could hit, like that he has.
The questions were harder, right?
Yeah, but he'll do it on purpose.
That's why I didn't use them. No one's honestly, I didn't see any benefits in those, but everyone have different opinions,
Yeah, but I mainly used Booster and Bootcamp, and I took it in September, so a little over a year ago. And at this point, I wasn't even accepted into Turo. I only got into NYU in December, and I got into Turo around February and March.
Yeah, it would be crazy if we get Dr. Romano on this podcast. The stories that he would tell us over the years. Bro, he's been teaching for like maybe 30 years.
Yeah, 25, 30 years.
Yeah, all the dental schools probably know him. Everyone, how'd you study? Dr. Romano, yeah. But I personally didn't use Dr. Romano. I did what Mark did, DAT Bootcamp and Booster.
Personally, I didn't like Bootcamp. I like Booster way better.
So they each had their different subjects.
Dr. Mike was good for boot camp.
Who?
Dr. Mike
The
for the
chem
Gen
teacher.
Camp, yeah. For me, Booster Bio was like the best thing I ever did. Like Bio was one of my weakest subjects, and it came out to being one of my best. So it's Bio. Like I feel like it was very 1-to-1 to my exam.
What I liked about Bootcamp specifically is I'm someone who likes everything to already be organized for me. So I like their schedule. Like I remember when I started studying for the DAT, I wanted to do an 8-week schedule. So it perfectly aligns everything for you, and as long as you stick to it, you'll get everything done. And it's like you have the goals that you have to set for the day, and that's what I like.
But Booster had the same thing.
Yeah, Booster also had the same thing, but I just started with Bootcamp first.
I tried using their schedule, but it didn't work.
So you just made
12-week or 8-week schedule.
Yeah. You made up your own schedule, Ben.
I made up my own schedule. Yeah, what I did was I got to a point where like, listen, I feel like I'm not making any progress, and I need to speed things up. So I just like added all the videos I needed to watch for each section and divided it by how many days, because I wanted to leave 1 month before my exam just for like exams. I would do like 3-4 sections every single day coming to my exam, which probably was one of the best things I ever did. I feel like I learned the most during that month than my whole 4 months of studying prior to that.
Did you ever feel like burnt out? Like there were times in the summer where I was just like, why am I even doing this anymore? Like it was like so frustrating in a certain sense.
So you know what helped me? There was this one drink from Dunkin'. It was called the Spark the Drink.
What's that?
It was like a caffeinated drink, and I was running around Tobin. That's what I was studying for like 6 hours straight. I was just going.
That's St. John's.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was in St. John's. Yeah, you can ask Natalie. She was with me and watching. Like, I started doing calculations of how much it's gonna cost if I get the drink every single day for my exam. It was like $3,000, so I think it was worth it.
Honestly, something that like really helped. I know everybody tells you go to Westbury, take your test in Westbury. So I was like very stressed out maybe like the month before my exam. I'm like, wow, it's coming up. Dr. Romano, he told me to, I haven't really told this to many people. He said, go check out the facility first before you take the exam.
Oh yeah, I remember he
So-
said that.
So it's like $20 thing you sign up for. You go, you schedule a time you want to go and check out the whole thing. I'm so happy I did that because when you go on your test day, there's so much things on your mind. You don't want to be worried about where is my exam room. You know, that's gonna imagine you can't find your exam room right before the DAT. You're gonna be so stressed out.
Yeah, because Westbury, you go inside, then you have to take the elevator, then you have to take a
Yeah,
right
yeah.
all the way
All
down.
I remember that day I went, I couldn't find my way around. I had to ask so
Yeah.
many people. So I'm real. That
Yeah.
is like a big thing.
And that the day I took my exam, there was so many people taking their step 1 and their CPA exam. And I'm just sitting stressing, and over there was just so many people. But to add on to what you were saying, what I loved about bootcamp and boosters, the exam, when you would take it like lockdown or whatever it was, it looked exactly like the exam
Yeah.
we took, and
Yeah.
you were even able to select the 2-second delay
Yeah,
to make it like seem just like you were taking it in real life.
but that was booster only. Boot camp is
No, bootcamp had the same. I don't know about the 2-second delay, but bootcamp
Yeah.
thing was the same.
I actually had a crazy story. So I took my DET in September, and I don't know if you guys know what UN week is. It's when all the diplomats from around the world
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
come here. So I didn't realize that I scheduled my DET for that week, and I took mine in Harlem. So I had to drive to the city. So I'm driving to the city. I woke up early on purpose. I wanted to get there like 30 minutes to an hour early, and then they shut down the Midtown Tunnel.
Oh,
So I'm driving and it keeps on adding time. And I'm looking at my Waze. It says I'm going to get there like 10 minutes before my exam. So I was panicking because you have to get there early to check in.
Right.
So I called my dad. He's like, listen, just get into the city and take a train. So I parked my car somewhere. I got on the train and I got to the exam 2 minutes before it was supposed to start. And they ended up letting me still take it because there was no one else. It was like a very small spot. And thank God I was able to take it. It was kind of a sketchy area, but it turned out well.
I had someone cry in the middle of my exam. All of a sudden, I just like hear crying, and now they give you these noise canceling headphones, but then like all of a sudden you feel like you're deaf, and you just hear like a ringing sound in my ear, and I couldn't wear them.
Yeah, I didn't use them either.
And then I said, you know what? I'm just gonna take the exam without them. And all of a sudden I hear like someone like sniffing their nose, you know, like that. And then I'm like, what is that? And then like I hear someone crying, and I'm like, oh, that's not good.
Bro, there's so many horror stories of people taking the DAT. Like, I remember I forgot who told me this, but they were telling me how all of a sudden during the reading section or their math section, it just started shutting down the computer. You know, the Prometric computers are really bad. They suck.
Yeah.
So, like, it started shutting down. He's arguing with the person coming to give him a marker. Like, the guy doesn't want to answer him. You know, like, there's so many problems
You guys had a calculator?
that just stress you out.
No, you can't. So actually, there's
No,
another
we didn't have
funny.
a calculator.
Yeah,
I have
I didn't
another
have one.
funny story about that. So I'm taking my exam, and I think I asked her to give me like a board, and she comes over, the proctor, with a calculator. And you can't have a calculator on the DAT, and they record everything. So if they see that you did something wrong, they could discard your exam. So I wanted her to go as far away from me as possible, so she doesn't give it to me, and no one sees that she was trying to give me a calculator. But guys, everything is gonna go well when you guys take your DAT. Don't stress about this.
Yeah, you want to hear a funny story about my DAT? So you know during the reading section, there is those questions with like, what does this word mean in paragraph this?
Oh,
So for me, I don't know why I have like this thing where I can't go to the next question without doing the question I'm on. Like I don't move forward. I'm not like that. So when I had this question, it was what does this word mean in paragraph 9? Like, okay, fine. I'll go to paragraph 9. I read that paragraph probably like 10 times. That word was not there. Like, what am I supposed to do? I literally, I can't. 10 minutes I was wasting just on this one question. I quickly skipped it. I go to the next one. It was like paragraph 10. I read paragraph 10. That word was in paragraph 10. Can you believe that? For 10 minutes, I was reading the same paragraph, and it wasn't there.
Wow,
Ben thought he
That's
was
brutal.
tripping during his exam.
Yeah, that was brutal.
what
Waste of
was
my
the
reading
most
section.
hardest topic for you guys during the exam?
I think I
Reading.
was stressed most about probably bio or orgo, but it turned out like I wouldn't say easy, but if you did the practice, you would be fine. and PAT was the hardest.
English was always my weak
Yeah.
weak spot, but PET was also something new, but it wasn't my worst. I think English was my worst.
But I feel like PET wasn't such a like. I feel like nobody ever told me like PET is a deal breaker. That's why like I personally didn't focus on it as much.
What do you mean by deal breaker?
Like, you know, like there's some there's sections of the DAT where they're deal breakers. Like, I feel like the science sections are weighed much more than the other regular sections, and I know that like people when they look at your scores, if you get a lower score in like one of those like PAT, I feel like bio is weighed much more than PAT.
So, for example, there are some schools. Let's say you get 16 on
Yeah,
bio,
they have
but you have
cutoffs.
a 20 or something on everything else. They won't take you.
If you have a 16 on PAT.
No. For example, let's say you got a 16 on bio, but you have
or like a
25
15.
on every other section.
Right.
They're not gonna accept you because there are certain.
Yeah, there's like a cutoff.
There's a
There's
cutoff.
cutoffs,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. No, that
So
I would say like bio was like, especially the taxonomy part. Like there are so many different things you have to memorize.
Yeah. You had to
One thing
memorize, and I had no
honestly,
questions on that.
Honestly, I did. Yeah, exactly. I didn't memorize it. I'm like, if it was 2 questions, whatever, I'll get it wrong.
I had like 7 questions on taxonomy. That didn't
I
make
had one
sense.
question, and I found that I got it right. So
One thing
That's
I would
crazy.
give, like a piece of advice, there's a lot to memorize, right? For example, for the bio section, but there's only I think like 30 questions that you're gonna take.
Yeah.
So don't like
Is it
waste your
30 or
time
40?
going
No, there's 40 questions on
40.
bio.
40 questions on bio. So don't waste your time going so much into detail, because they're most likely
know what
gonna
it-
ask you the
You
more
would-
basic
you-
questions.
You would rather try to learn as much as you can of
Correct, yeah.
everything than
Yeah.
just focus
it's like
on
you know that picture.
certain
It's like
parts.
there's the iceberg in the water, and only the top tip,
The
like
tip of the-
5%.
tip of the
is
iceberg.
yeah, it's just showing. It's like that. That's the top is what you're gonna be tested on. Everything else is what you're gonna learn.
Right.
Let's talk about now our dental school experience so far. So who wants to start first?
I love it. Dental school is fun. It's much more fun than undergrad. I mean,
What-
for me, undergrad was just basically clocking in, clocking out. You know, like, yeah, it was studying. We had to study for our sciences. We had to study for other things. But for me, especially like Turo, undergrad was for the first year that I was there in 2021, because I started college 4 days after I graduated high school. I graduated on the 13th of June, and June 17 was our first day. I remember I had computer class. It was a Thursday. It was like fundamentals of computers, you know, like Word, Microsoft, and stuff like that. So I was taking that in Bio 1 in the summer. So just so that I could like be more ahead. Like I was taking summers. I was doing full 18 credits a semester, and I tried to finish in 3 years. Now, with all that, my first year, which was my bios, A&P, and both of my chemistries were all on Zoom. I didn't take anything online. Nothing was online. And so all of a sudden on my second year, when I have to take organic chemistry, I was all of a sudden on like in person. It was just very different. Like, you know, like whoever were my friends from online class, I never really met them. We were just good friends, and we would study even like on the phone. And it was just very, very a big transition, because like from high school to take 1 year off, you're not in school, and like you are, but you're not. And then all of a sudden to go back to school, the traveling, you know, I was always used to a school bus. Even in high school, we had a school bus that would take us all the way to Brooklyn. And to all of a sudden be in a different environment is different. And compared that to dental school, it's so different.
I feel like everyone in dental school is much happier because everyone there, for the most part, is doing what they love and something that they want to do for the rest of their lives. And you get to share that experience with all the other like 200 students that we have. So no one is like stressing to really compete with each other. Everyone is there to learn together, help each other, and we're all learning the same thing. So it's more focused in, and it's not all over the place.
Like in undergrad, we didn't really do anything for our future profession.
Yeah.
You know, like, especially like you're not gonna go and no one's gonna ask you what you got on Orgo or in like Gen Chem. You know, I feel like now, I mean, there are some classes still that we're taking that aren't really like gonna help us, in my opinion. But I feel like the other classes, like lab, for example, we didn't have lab, like dental lab in undergrad, but in dental school we do. I think we're practicing what we're gonna be doing for the rest of our lives. That's my number one thing why I prefer dental school over undergrad any day.
Yeah, but that's every professional school. They're going to teach you about your profession. Undergrad, I feel, is just like a filter system where you have to take a bunch of unnecessary classes. Like I had to take different psychologies for a minor in psychology. I didn't really need that. I took it because, it fills up my 120 credits.
Yeah, but there are other professions besides dental, medical, like business majors. Whatever they do in undergrad, they learn about it too. I
Yeah,
feel like.
and whatever they learn in business school, they don't really actually use it. Most of it, they don't use most of it in real life. You know.
And I feel like some dental schools I've heard of where like we started working in the lab right away, right? From our first semester.
Yeah.
There are other dental schools where they start working in the lab like a lot later
Yeah,
on.
a year later.
Yeah, like a full year later. So you're
Which school?
I think Columbia is
In
like
Toronto also,
Oh.
the dentist that I shadow, he said that like he was shocked that right away we were already doing like class 1s, class 2s. He's like,
Yeah.
wait, you're only in your fall semester. I said, yeah. He's like, that's pretty quick. He's like, in Toronto, like we did it a year later.
Yeah, some schools are much faster, like where they're gonna do a lot
Yeah,
more
so much
in
more
the lab.
important.
But other schools, I think their first year they mainly do didactic stuff, and then they only start working in the lab. So the first year could be like I wouldn't enjoy that, just sitting and learning in like a textbook and slides all day. So we have the balance.
There's positives and negatives. The positives would be like, let's say you get all your didactics done in the first year. Your second year is just lab every day. You're focused, but
That'd
That
be
could
fun, but you'll get burnt
exactly.
out quick.
But like that's why I rather do it starting in the beginning, because this is a skill that is gonna take you a long time to master.
Yeah.
So drilling, all that, it's gonna take you a lot of practice, a lot of failing, and a lot of teaching. So I would prefer to
A
start
lot
from
of
the first
humbling
year.
moments.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
honestly, it's a lot better than expected. Like I remember going in to Turo, all of my friends already went to NYU. They got accepted to NYU, and I'm the only one going to Turo out of my close friend group. So I was also very worried, wasn't sure whether or not I was gonna have a good crew like us. But look at us. I mean, we're starting our podcast. We're so far so good throughout dental school.
So far, yeah.
And yeah, I appreciate that. That was
No problem.
thanks for the interruption.
No problem.
But it's very, very important to also realize that as much as we're in lab and as much as we have time to go and drill, if you don't practice, like last night, what time did we go to school?
Yeah, we went pretty late. I think we got there around like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and left.
We were the last ones.
Yeah, we're the last ones there.
We were the last ones in lab. Literally, we were turning off the lights. And
Shooting Instagram reels doesn't count, but yeah.
I mean, you manage whatever you could do, but
yeah.
but with all seriousness, to sit there and practice, and a lot of times when we do go to a lab after hours or on Sundays, and we see like sometimes that the lab was full. You remember like before the summative, the lab is full, but not even before the summative. But like let's say the summative is in like 4 weeks, like a month away, and you see people practicing not because they're not doing well, but because they want to do better, right? That's very important. Instead of proving yourself to others all the time, be focused on improving yourself, and you'll only grow from there. You just have to be better than what you were yesterday. Now, there are times, like how Rob said before, that are very humbling. They're very humbling. You think you're good, you're doing well, and then all of a sudden, the next day, you're doing horrible. And I remember the day before our summative for our class 2, Rob came up to me and he told me, he's like, how's it going? And I said, today's not my day. And then he told me, you remember what you told me?
So yeah, it's good because tomorrow will be better.
Yeah, you told me that it's good that today's not your day because that means tomorrow will be better. And thank God I did very well on that summative, because that's the mindset that I carry, that I said, okay, this is not something like Bob Ross, the painter, always says. He's like, we don't make accidents, only happy mistakes. It's a very big difference. If you look at an accident and you say, okay, that's it, there's nothing I could do. But if you make a happy mistake, there's always something that you could work around it, which doesn't always work with dentistry, because you could mess up big time and then, you
can't fix it.
you can't fix it.
Yeah.
But when you're
Go
practicing,
too deep on a cavity, now you got to do a root canal.
but when you're practicing, and right now when we're in dental school, this is our time to practice and to really perfect our art.
And take risks to see what's gonna work better.
Yeah, definitely.
But bro, thank God we went to practice last night. Way better today.
Today it was quicker too.
Yeah, you get
Much quicker.
You figure out what works, what doesn't work.
Different techniques.
Yeah, but it only works when you're learning from your mistakes. Like
Yeah.
You have to learn from. How do you learn from your mistakes? You have to be with your friends, people that you
Right.
know that are gonna give you advice.
and real advice, not it's good, good job,
You want
Like, what'd you say? What do you say?
No mercy. No,
No
mercy.
mercy.
no
right.
mercy, like, rip me into shreds. You want that constructive criticism. If you're not taking that constructive criticism from anyone, and that's very, very good advice to anybody who's watching, that you want to be good, you need to be coachable. Like Dr. Erpfart always says, you have to be coachable. If you're not coachable, then you're not going to grow. You're not going to be better. You have to take that criticism, that constructive criticism, and build from it. You have to build from it. If you can't build from it, if you're gonna come and ask me as a friend, tell me, hey, Neria, how's my prep? How's my restoration looking? And I tell you the truth. I could tell you it's amazing, it's a great job, or I could tell you this is bad, that could be fixed, this needs to be fixed, and then you're gonna look at me and you're gonna have that like sad face, and you're not gonna want to come to me again. Listen, that's on you. I don't need you to come to me.
Reminds me of what Dr. Romano used to say. He would give you an easy question, you answer on the board. Oh, wow, good job, you got it right. See, you feel good now, but did I give you any strength? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got a hard question, you got it wrong, but you get back up, you learned it, you got it right, and now you learned something, you got stronger.
Right. Yeah.
So it's better if somebody tells you what your mistakes are, you're going to get up, you're going to do better next time. Except somebody's going to tell you, yeah, it's good, just to make you feel good.
Like, if my friend would come to me, and like if one of you guys would have came to me and I would have like showed you my prep or restoration, and you guys, yeah, it's good. Like, I feel like that would be just like not a spit in the face, but more of like something like, I need your help. Your help is your feedback.
Yeah,
When I
that-
ask you, you always tell me it sucks before even looking at it.
That's why I always give you some. There's always something wrong with your preps usually,
Yeah.
and your restorations. Today you had some pointy stuff there, but
Pointy
we don't
stuff.
talk about it. You can check on the story. Oh,
Did you guys have any fears coming into dental school or now that you're in dental school?
Yeah. My fear was that I wouldn't make it. I had a very, very strong feeling that I wouldn't make it to dental school because
No, to dental school or in dental school?
and then when I was in dental school, like I didn't know if this was the right thing to do because I was in nursing school. And the reason why I was in nursing school is because when I applied for the DAT, I remember Robert got an interview already, and a few other people that I knew started getting interviews, and like decision day was coming, and I didn't know what I was gonna do because I'm not getting any answer. And yes, I'm a Turo student, and I'm going to Turo, so maybe they look at me a little bit better, but when your friend calls you from when he's already in dental school and he calls you and he tells you, hey, listen, we have about 7,000 applications this year, chances don't look very, very high compared to last year where they only had 3,000. Chances look slimmer. You have to really make a decision of, okay, am I wasting a year of my life to maybe try again? Or I can't right now risk this time because these are the most precious years of a person's life, his 20s, his 30s. You don't want to work as hard when you're 40, 50, 60. You want to enjoy your life. You're not supposed to work your entire life. You're supposed to enjoy your life. We're put on this earth for maybe 70, 80 years, but what are we really doing? Why are we working so hard for all these years? But on average, hopefully everybody passes that age, but on average, and when I was in nursing school, first of all, shout out to all the nurses, it's a really hardworking profession, and a lot of respect to them. It's a lot of commitment. It's a lot of practice as well. I remember like what we're doing in lab with teeth. When I was in nursing school, we were doing blood pressure, eye vision tests, like different types of things that we had to know, because the first people who see a patient that's in an emergency situation is a nurse. So shout out to all the nurses. Now, I was in nursing school and I didn't feel like I belonged there because I always wanted to be a dentist since I was like 14, 15. I always wanted to be a dentist. And that fear of never having that dream come true was real, and it really sucked. I carried that burden with me every day. But now that I finally got my interview, I actually took my interview on Zoom in nursing school. I was in nursing school when I did my interview.
when was this?
This was in February. And then a week later, on Saturday night, I open up my phone and I got a notification saying that I got accepted to dental school. And I was very excited. I was very happy. But now, okay, I got my foot into the door. Now what? That's the fear that everybody has. Like, now what?
You go to school and you take classes.
some
Right.
people aren't sure. Like even like the first month of school, you could think to yourself like maybe this is not for me. You know, you get stuck on wax ups, even though it has nothing to do with what you're gonna be doing later on.
Yeah, I got stuck on wax ups.
Yeah, I was
Wasn't
honestly scared of drilling because it's something that you've never done before. And I wouldn't say I'm the most artistic person, and drilling a tooth is very meticulous and you have to really be precise. But as soon as you practice it, and in school they gave us like all the tools necessary. I remember when they gave us that block with all the different shapes that you can drill.
Yeah.
And then you start doing it, and the most important thing is that you have to continue practicing. And then I feel like everyone gets better at it. Or by the time you graduate, everyone's gonna know. how to
After
drill.
repetition.
Right, and that's why like, even if you're unsure but you're thinking about it, that's why I recommend doing the pre-dental program with Turo, because I did that and like it opened a whole different world. We started drilling there. We did fillings, we made our own castings, we did IRM, we did a bunch of different things. We injected an orange, you know, we learned a lot there, and I feel like that like opened like what you're actually gonna do, even though it wasn't like how we're doing it now. Like everything step by step they teach us, they just like, here, play around, do what you need to do. They drilling lines, you know what it is, you know. But that's like, even if you're unsure or thinking about it, and even if you want to see if you're good at it, so I recommend to do that. It helped a lot.
Like we're 1/8, like we finished 1/8 of our dental school, right? And going to the Javits Center for the dental show before I was in dental school, and then when we went in December, you have a total different outlook on different things. You know, like
Way more interest.
it's way more interest. You know what a burr looks like. If I give you a burr number, you most likely know what it is. You're searching for different things. You look at different loops differently, and this is just in 1/8 of dental school.
But still, no matter what you know, whatever you think you know, and you go there, you're like, wow, there's so much
There's
more
so
to
much
learn.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we saw a lot of devices and tools that we've never
Yeah.
seen before, and we have a lot more of dental school to complete, and then that stuff is really gonna
Bro-
apply to us. when
Bro,
we
I
get
felt
out.
like very, I don't know, like, what's that term? Like, there's so much for you, you can't handle it all at once.
Yeah, I think that's the term.
No, there's a term, overwhelmed.
overwhelmed.
I think that's the term. No, I was like very overwhelmed. There's so much stuff to learn, and like we just started. So you're looking at the big picture before you're the journey.
Yeah. You get to a little bit, like, to taste a little bit of the journey. So like you understand, you're overwhelmed because you understand. But if you like over there and you have no clue what composite is, there's different types of composites. There's different types of burrs. There's different types of loops,
Different
instruments, all that stuff. You're looking and you're like, wow, okay, this is not overwhelming, even though there's so much, because you don't understand it. But now that we understand it, and there's still a lot more to learn, you're overwhelmed because you're like, wow, there's a lot more to learn. But
Yeah, like I recently went back to the doctor I used to shadow, and I was like just to visit him, say hi to my workers that I used to work with, and like I was talking with him on like a different level. Like it's not like how they would be doing a filling, and I'll be watching them so much in more detail and seeing like what they're actually doing and why they're doing it. It's a completely different experience now.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it for today. Please comment down in the comments below. Let us know if anybody that you would like us to talk to, who we may invite over, what you guys want to hear, and
What are topics that you want us to talk about? What are topics that are interesting to you? Questions that you might have?
Yeah, questions, pre-dental, current dental, and
if you guys are applying, maybe we'll do a Q&A like on our story.
like
Answer
a
real
live
quick. Yeah.
for sure.
So any questions you guys may have or any tips that you might want to give us, please hit us up, let us know. And thank you guys for joining. If you're watching up to this point, thank you. And see you next time.
Yep. See you.
Welcome to the fourth molar.
Thank you, guys.